Hello again and welcome to another episode of the Sandcat Channel. And so today's episode will be all about the free paw of the sandcat. And so we all know from a previous episode that the sandcat is a very mysterious animal, lives in the desert, and so in order to protect itself from walking on the scorching sand, it actually has fur on its paws. So the big question is, how did a sandcat ever get fur on its paws? And so there might be several theories. Is it a genetic mutation? If so, what kind of mutation? Is it a new gene maybe? Or perhaps a gene loss? Or just a dysregulated gene, maybe the regulation of the individual genes in the sandcat's paws are dysregulated. And so let's take a look at the hair follicle cycle, at least as we know it in humans. So in the anagen phase, we have a hair follicle in the skin. It gets its nutrients from the dermal papilla. It has its own muscle, its own circulation, and so it starts growing. But then after a while, it goes into catagen phase. Interesting cat, sandcat, catagen. And then the root of the hair, it starts undergoing apoptosis, or that is cell death, and then the hair follicle starts regressing, and then in telogen phase it dies off. But then afterwards, telogen goes back to anagen phase, and the hair follicle starts growing all over again. So this is the hair follicle cycle. And so the first theory, did the sandcat get a new gene by which he can develop fur on his paws? Well, it's highly unlikely that a new gene came about just by random chance in the sandcat's genome. Its proteins are very likely to be very similar to the ones in the house cat, Felis catus, and we know that it's genetic mutations. They destroy information, they do not build information. And so as we go on in time, either it might be that the sandcat has actually lost genetic information compared to its relative species. So it's most likely that we don't have a new gene, but some sort of mutation affects the way that the hair actually grows. The hair follicle is an existing structure. It is more likely that the mutation either broke a gene or affected the regulation of the hair follicle. It may also be that the promoter of a gene, the promoter is the regulatory region of the gene, that maybe a mutation happened in the promoter, we just don't know. That's why we need to have the whole genome sequence of the sandcat, and that's why I had a whole video about sequencing the genome sequence of the sandcat. So genes in the hair follicle cycle, what kinds are there? Several genes are actually involved in the transition from one phase of the hair follicle cycle to the next. Some genes inhibit growth, whereas others help hair growth. One such gene, called CCN2, helps the hair follicle transition into catagen phase. Now, it may be that a mutation broke the protein coded for by this gene. Therefore, if the CCN2 gene does not work in the sandcat's paw, it does not promote catagen phase. Therefore, the hair follicle doesn't break down but remains. Hence, the sandcat's furry paw. So here's the CCN2 just in pictures. It promotes the transition from anagen to catagen. Now, if this gene is broken, if it falls out, if it doesn't fulfill its function for promoting anagen to catagen, therefore the catagen phase will not be reached, and we still retain the fur in the cat's paws. And so that's why we have sequenced the whole genome of the sandcat. It's available. Now we need to find all the genes in the genome. That is, we have to annotate the genome sequence of the sandcat. That's a technical term, it's gene annotation. And so we can do this using bioinformatics tools such as Augustus or other tools such as Fluidity. Then we can match them with the known proteins of the house cat proteome, proteome meaning all the proteins of a given organism. And once we find that those special gene or genes which are responsible for the free paw in the sandcat, then we can help male pattern baldness. if we find the appropriate gene in sandcat, we can find its corresponding gene in human, and perhaps import a version into the skin cells of bald men, so that it can stop the catagen phase, or it can do its work, and then we can hopefully try to regrow hair in balding men. So that's the big use of finding the gene responsible for the furry paw in the sandcat. And so, some final words. Please like this video. Look at the other videos that I mentioned in this in this video about the sandcat genome, for example. And also, if you want to see more videos like this on the sandcat channel, maybe consider donating. There's a link in the description box below. And thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.